You may have noticed by now that the forest pays attention, not the kind of attention that follows, not the kind that watches from a distance. Something quieter, something older. A stone pays attention to the river that moves around it. The river pays attention to the shape of the land. Roots pay attention to water hidden deep beneath the earth. The forest pays attention in much the same way, without effort, without judgment, without deciding to. It simply knows what passes through it. There are trees in the old wood that have stood for longer than memory, longer than stories, longer than the names given to stories. Their bark has thickened through countless seasons. Their roots have woven themselves through layers of earth that few things ever see. Their branches have held moonlight, rain, fog, and silence. They have learned many things, not because they searched for knowledge, but because they remained. You may find yourself standing beside one of these trees now. Not the largest, not the oldest, only one whose presence feels familiar. The trunk rises quietly beside you. Its bark is rough beneath layers of moss. Its roots disappear into the earth with the confidence of something that has never doubted where it belongs. You rest there for a moment. The tree rests as well, though it has been resting for a very long time. Nothing passes between you, no message, no voice, no revelation waiting to happen, only stillness. And then you may notice something curious, the sense that this tree recognizes you, not as an individual, not as a stranger, not even as a visitor, as something known. The feeling is difficult to describe. It resembles memory, but not your memory. The tree does not know your history. It does not know where you came from. It does not know the things you have carried. Yet somehow, its presence contains the quiet certainty of recognition. Perhaps this is because trees understand names differently. Elsewhere, a name is often treated as ownership, a label, a way of distinguishing one thing from another. The forest has never been particularly interested in such uses. To a tree, a name is closer to a pattern, a shape, a way of being present in the world, the name you answer to, the sound that causes your attention to turn, the collection of memories gathered around a few simple syllables. The tree knows none of these, and yet it knows something deeper. It knows that you are here, and for the tree, that has always been enough. The tree remains as it is, silent, unmoving, patient beyond measure. If you continue standing beside it, you may begin to understand why the forest places such value on remaining. Many things in the world learn by seeking, by searching, by gathering information, by moving from place to place. Trees have chosen another method. They stay, and because they stay, they notice. Year after year, season after season, they watch light move through the canopy. They watch rain gather upon leaves. They watch shadows lengthen, then shorten, then lengthen once more. Nothing escapes their attention, not because they are looking for anything, because they are present for everything. Perhaps this is why the tree feels familiar, not because it has seen you before, though perhaps it has, but because it has seen countless beings arrive in much the same way. quietly, uncertainly, curiously. The forest has known wanderers for a very long time. Some came searching, some came hiding, some came listening, some came without realizing they had entered at all. The tree remembers them, not individually, not as stories, not as names, as presences. Like ripples remembered by a pond, like seasons remembered by the soil, like sunlight remembered by leaves, a pattern remains, long after the details have softened. You may notice this within yourself as well. There are people you once knew, whose faces have faded with time, yet something of them remains, a feeling, a shape, a way they occupied the world. The forest remembers in much the same way. You stand quietly beside the tree, and the tree recognizes the shape of your presence, not because it knows who you are, because it knows what it means for someone to stand here. A breeze moves somewhere high above, not enough to disturb the stillness, only enough to remind you that stillness and movement have never been opposites. The tree understands this. Its branches sway, its roots remain. Both are part of the same act. You may rest your attention upon the bark, the rough surface, the patches of moss, the slow gathering of years. The tree carries evidence of countless seasons, storms that have long since passed, droughts that no one remembers, winters that arrived quietly, springs that returned without announcement. None of these are recorded in words, yet they remain. The forest has never trusted words entirely. Words are useful, but they move quickly, they change, they disappear. The tree prefers slower records. Growth rings hidden beneath bark, roots deepening through soil, moss finding a place to settle, the patient accumulation of what has been. You may begin to wonder whether the tree knows the name you answer to. The answer is no, not that name, not the one spoken aloud, not the one written down, not the one carried through the world. Those names belong to places beyond the forest. They are useful there, necessary perhaps, but the old wood has never required them. It recognizes something older, something quieter. The simple fact that you are here, and that to the tree has always been enough. Pause here, allow the thought to settle, to be known without needing to explain yourself, to be recognized without needing to introduce yourself. The tree asks for nothing more. For a while, you remain beside the tree. Nothing changes. The bark remains rough beneath moss. The roots remain hidden beneath the earth. The canopy remains suspended above, holding light and shadow in quiet balance. And yet, the longer you remain, the more difficult it becomes to think of the tree as separate from the forest around it. Its roots touch other roots. Its branches share space with countless branches. The moss upon its bark grows from the same rain that nourishes the fern nearby. Nothing here exists entirely alone. The forest understands connection in ways that are easy to overlook. A root does not introduce itself to the soil. A river does not explain itself to the stone. The wind does not announce its arrival to the leaves. Recognition happens without words. Perhaps names once worked this way as well. Long before they were written, long before they were spoken across great distances, long before they became things that could be recorded. Perhaps a name was once simply a feeling, a way of knowing. You may notice now that the tree's recognition feels strangely familiar, not because you have experienced it often, because you have always been searching for it. The feeling of being known without performance, without explanation, without needing to become anything else. The tree offers this naturally, not as a gift, not as a kindness, simply because it has no reason to do otherwise. Somewhere deep beneath the forest floor, roots continue their slow conversations, not through language, not through thought, through presence, through contact, through the patient exchange of what each already possesses. The forest has always preferred such conversations. Words are useful, but they often arrive after understanding. The tree knows this. You may find yourself thinking about the name you carry through the world, the name spoken by friends, the name written on forms, the name attached to memories. The forest does not reject that name. It simply does not depend on it. A leaf does not require a name to belong to the tree. A star does not require a name to belong to the night. The forest sees little difference. What it recognizes is not the word. It is the pattern beneath the word, the steady shape of a life being lived, the rhythm of a mind at rest, the presence that remains when all introductions have ended. Perhaps this is why the tree feels familiar, not because it knows your name, because it knows the thing that existed before names were spoken. You may rest with that thought or allow it to drift away. The forest is not concerned with whether it is remembered. A branch high above shifts slightly. A patch of moss gathers another drop of moisture. Far below, roots continue weaving themselves through darkness. Everything remains connected to things it cannot fully see. The forest considers this entirely normal. Trust does not require complete understanding. Recognition does not require complete knowledge. The tree has never known your story, yet it knows that you are here, and somehow that continues to feel sufficient. You may notice a quiet relief in this, the relief of not needing to describe yourself, the relief of not needing to be summarized, the relief of simply existing within the attention of something ancient. The tree asks for no explanation. The forest asks for no explanation, only presence. And presence has always known how to arrive on its own. For a time, nothing more is required. The tree remains where it has always been. The roots remain hidden. The branches remain lifted toward the sky. The forest continues its quiet remembering. You may find that the need to understand has begun to soften, not disappear, only loosen. There are things the forest explains, and there are things it simply allows. Recognition belongs to the second kind. The tree does not know why it recognizes you. The river does not know why it follows the shape of the land. The moss does not know why it settles where it does. Some things arrive before explanation. The forest has always trusted them. You remain beside the tree, or perhaps the tree remains beside you. The distinction has become less important. The stillness between you feels familiar now. Not empty, not waiting, complete. Nothing needs to happen, nothing needs to be revealed. The forest has never believed that understanding must arrive as a sudden thing. Instead, it gathers slowly, like moss upon stone, like roots beneath earth, like seasons accumulating within wood. A little at a time, you may think once more of the name you carry through the world, the name spoken by others, the name attached to memories, the name that turns your attention when called across a room. It is a good name. The forest does not doubt this. It simply belongs elsewhere. Here, beneath the canopy, other things are remembered. The shape of your presence, the rhythm of your attention, the quiet way you arrived. These things matter to the forest, perhaps more than names ever could. A leaf falls somewhere nearby. Its journey is short, its landing gentle. The tree notices, the forest notices. Neither feels compelled to comment. Attention does not always require language. The old wood has known this for a very long time. You may begin to feel yourself growing quieter now, not because you are fading, because you are settling. Thoughts settle, questions settle. Even the need to define yourself settles. The forest asks very little. Tonight it asks only this: remain for a while. Nothing more. The tree continues standing. Tonight it asks only this: remain for a while. Nothing more. The tree continues standing. The roots continue listening. The moss continues gathering softness from the world, and somewhere beneath all of it, beyond language, beyond memory, beyond explanation, the forest continues knowing what passes through it, not by name, by presence. There are names spoken beneath open skies, names carried through towns and cities, names written upon paper, names remembered in stories. And there are other names, older names, quieter names, names that are never spoken aloud. The forest keeps such names carefully, not in words, not in books, not in memory as you understand it, only in recognition, only in the quiet certainty that something has been here and has belonged. For now, that is enough. You may rest. The tree will remain. The roots will remain. The forest will remain. And somewhere within the deep remembering of the old wood, the shape of your presence will not be forgotten. You may rest now. The trees already know you are here.